flooding. The road minister says contractor is set to resume work on Stout of Anko in Sarum Road, following fruitful discussions. Former Eastern Regional Minister has said that the abolition of the e-levy is a good news. Ghana Investment Promotion Center has unveiled new 24-hour premium service for investors. European Union has responded to Trump's tariff. Let's go for a quick commercial break, and when we are back, I would give you the details of these and more stories.
Admission, admission, admission. Are you looking for a computer institution with a serene atmosphere in equipping you with the ability to deepen your understanding and in-depth knowledge in computerization? Then the answer is Big Family Multimedia Institute. Our dedicated and experienced teachers are ready to provide personal attention, support, and help you bring your fusion to bear. We are located at Amasaman Dobrogono, Upper Class Junction, and Santa Maria Family and Friend. For more information, contact 0555 20 80 56 0540 932 188. Website bfmnetworks.com. Email info@bfmnetwork.com. Other affiliates include Center for Trade, Big Family TV, Big Family News, Big Family Radio, Big Family Event, Big Family Multimedia Institute, KabaraInfo.com, Trustees, Okman Motors, Soko Mall, ABK TV Ghana. Enroll now and experience the difference.
You are all that matters.
You're welcome back. President John Dramani Mahama has directed contractors working on the desilting of the Odol drain to expedite work ahead of the rainy season to mitigate flooding in Accra. During a tour of flood-prone areas in the Greater Accra region, the president also took decisive action against illegal encroachment on water retention areas. He ordered Capitec Motors, a private company that has illegally filled a Ramsar site and a water retention basin at Malam Junction, to restore the area by removing the silt. Additionally, President Mahama instructed the Greater Accra Regional Security Council, REGSEC, to ensure strict compliance with his directive. This includes compelling Capitec Motors to desilt and clear the affected area and enforcing the removal of structures built in waterways. President John Dramani Mahama has issued a strong warning against the illegal construction of buildings on waterways and protected lands, vowing to take a decisive action to prevent the annual flooding crisis in Ghana. He condemned the increasing encroachment on flood-prone areas, which has led to widespread destruction of property. I must address a deeply troubling issue: the illegal construction of buildings in waterways, causing flooding and extensive destruction of property, Mahama stated. With the rainy season approaching, the president noted that some areas had already begun experiencing floods due to blocked drainage systems caused by unauthorized developments.
It's caused by human activity. We are the problem. What is happening here does not affect the factories here. The water comes from somewhere, and once it can pass and continue, it will back up and affect the communities beyond. These are streams that existed long before our grandfathers were born. They are streams that flow from the Equapin Mountains and find their way to the sea. Then we decided to come and build our capital city across the streams. So even if you build your capital city, you must allow the streams to flow through. People have built and blocked it. If you build and block a stream, the water will still come. But when it comes and it can't pass, what will it do? It will flood its banks. That's all that is happening in this city. And that's why we're asking the regional minister and the district chief executives to take a very tough stand on people whose properties are blocking waterways, because they're creating distraction for other people's properties and even loss of lives. Sometimes when it floods heavily, we lose human lives. And so it's not because we don't have a set of people like that, but we must enforce the bylaws. And the point is, the assembly here, how did you sit and allow this to happen? How did the assembly allow this to happen? And that's why you have the chief executive, you have assembly members. They must be conscious of all this. These are waterways, like he said. Can you imagine the volume of water that this place alone can hold when it rains? And so if you fill it up and you say there should just be a drain passing through, the drain cannot contain that water. And so let's do what we have to do. They should remove all this, and it should be at the cost of the people who did it. They should take this back where they brought it from.
Away from that story, Roads Minister Kwame Gavins Agboza has announced that Maripona Limited, the contractor working on the Style of Anko in Sawem Highway project, will return to the site in about 3 days to resume work. This follows fruitful discussions over the weekend after he abandoned the site following a $45 million debt owed to him. Speaking to the media on Wednesday, April 2nd, Mr. Agboza acknowledged the frustrations of residents and commuters who have been enduring poor road conditions along the critical corridor. We've been having discussions with the contractor, and I am pleased to inform the public that we have come to a conclusion. Effective immediately, the contractor will mobilize to the site and begin work, he said. The minister emphasized that the government understands the challenges faced by those who rely on the road, which serves as an essential route for many in the area. The government is fully aware of the situation, and we deeply feel the pain of residents and commuters, and our help is on the way, Mr. Agboza stated. As part of the new plan, Mr. Agboza confirmed that the contractor, Maripona Limited, has agreed to return to the site and begin the work without further delay. I expect Maripona to start remobilizing to the site immediately, and within 3 days, we should see action towards completing that project. He added, Mr. Agboza noted that the contractor is now fully committed to completing the project, a critical infrastructure development for the area.
The Ofanko Sawam road has been abandoned for some time. We've been having discussions with the contractor, and we came to a conclusion that effective immediately they should mobilize the site starting this afternoon. Whilst we conclude on modality, it is to pay them, and they have agreed. So those who are frustrated, and government is aware and feels the pain of residents and commuters who use that corridor, that help is on its way. I expect Maripoma to effective immediately start remobilizing to site, and within 3 days we should see action towards completing that project. So the dust and all the unsafe conditions will be addressed shortly.
Remobilizing to site with what commitment? You were owning it.
There has been very fruitful discussions over the weekend, and he's determined to complete.
How much is the ministry owing it?
To Big Family Radio, Big Family Radio.
And by the time it gets to site, some substantial amount of money.
We are working on
that. Big Family Radio.
Commitment. He knows his commitment.
Still on the issues of the road minister, Kwame Gavins Agboza has directed 2 local contractors, First Sky and Oswald Investments Limited, to mobilize immediately and commence road construction on the Ashaiman-Afienya stretch and the Temamoto Way to Dowenya stretch. The directive is aimed at addressing the deteriorating state of these key routes and easing the burden on commuters. The decision is expected to bring much-needed relief to road users who endure prolonged hours in traffic due to the poor condition of these roads. The Ashaiman-Afienya and Temamoto Way Dowenya stretches serve as critical transport links, and their rehabilitation is seen as a priority for enhancing mobility and reducing travel delays. During an emergency inspection of the affected areas, Kwame Gavins Agboza emphasized the government's commitment to ensuring road safety and improving infrastructure. He described the state of the roads as a pressing human security concern that required urgent intervention. The minister commended the 2 contractors for their commitment to delivering quality work despite ongoing challenges within the road sector. He expressed confidence in their ability to complete the remedial works efficiently, ensuring that road users experience improved conditions as soon as possible. Kwame Gavin-Sagboza, who also serves as the Member of Parliament for Adaklu, assured the public that the government remains dedicated to addressing infrastructure issues nationwide. He urged the contractors to expedite their work to minimize disruptions and enhance travel convenience for all road users.
There were spots that we thought they could have remedied up to now, they haven't. DHM, they are not even available. That is a fact. They came to remedy a section, that is TT Junction, TT Brothers traffic light and others. But all these sections which are still part of their contract, they didn't do much. That is why MMU came in. I think their concern is that they want to know whether government is committed to this. The president said it in his State of the Nation address that we are committed to complete this project. The finance minister said it in his budget statement that we are committed to do this way. I said it in parliament. So I don't know what assurance they still need. They know the process as enshrined in the debt restructuring requires certain steps to be taken at certain times. So I feel disappointed that they have not delivered as required. But let them also be aware that the maintenance of the work, the site as they are, is a breach. If they fail, it's a breach, and I could cite them for a breach of the contract as well. Immediately, I'm asking First Sky Group to help MMU to remedy all that we can do to ease the problem on the how do you call it, the motorway runabout towards Central University. And immediately, I'm asking Oswald to also work on the Ashama runabout to beyond Michelle Camp, and everything we can do as a remedial activity to improve the surface of the road whilst we do the road main construction. I ask them to do that immediately. It's an emergency work, so we are not going to wait for anything. They should move in as quickly as possible, as early as this evening or tomorrow. They can mobilize under the guidance of the Chief Executive of Highways, and let's see what we can do to limit the suffering of our people immediately.
My commitment is without question. You know, we've done a lot of work in this country. Even when we don't get payment, we still continue working. So the commitment is there, and we'll ensure that within a couple of months they will see a difference on that stretch of the road. People are really suffering. It was obvious during our journey, and I want to assure them that help is coming.
Away from that story, the e-levy is a tax imposed on electronic transactions, including mobile money transfers, bank transfers, and other digital payments. The rate was set at 1%, although it was initially proposed at 1.5%. It was implemented by the previous government. All the revenues used to be collected by the Ghana Revenue Authority, GRA, and is intended to enhance domestic tax mobilization and expand the tax base. The people of Ghanaians frowned upon it when they realized the money wasn't being used for what it was intended for. The National Democratic Congress, NDC, promised to scrap it during their term, and true to their words, they kept to their promise. Seth Champon, who is the former Eastern Regional Minister, said in an interview about how happy he is that the betting tax, e-levy tax, and emission tax has been scrapped. He argued that the e-levy was initially projected to raise a lot of revenue for the country, but ultimately failed to meet those targets. He described its removal as good news and insists there is no shame in admitting that the tax did not work.
But like I said, it wasn't the easy way around it. It was, for us at the time, it was a very smart way of making sure you were taking. Let me tell you, maybe sometimes we forget so easily. When the communication service tax was being introduced under President Kufuor, we met such heavy opposition at the time. And look, at the time, everybody was getting into the communication space. Today, besides voice communication, we have data communication. And not just data communication. We're moving on into deeper data communication. I sit here today and I can just access my bank accounts on a tablet. So we are growing as an economy. That is why when people come to you and they convince you that I think we should be focusing in this area as well, because we are growing in that direction. There could be some positivity emanating from that area. So it is nothing wrong at all. But the good thing is that after implementing a law, which we made for ourselves, when we realize that it's not beneficial to us, nothing stops us from doing away with the law. That's why I said that it's good news to me, because after what you just read to us, the statistics that the head of E-Levy at GRA gave us, projection was that annually we were going to bring into the kitty some 6 billion. Now in total for the 3 years that we will bid some 4.3 billion. Way off target. So it tells you that empirical analysis will tell you this is not right. So you go away with it. I wouldn't want to be here and be beating the drums and saying that because of one opposition through.
The Ghana Investment Promotion Center, GIPC, is now offering a 24 premium service to accelerate investment registration and approval procedures, a move announced by CEO Simon Maggi at a medical luncheon in Accra. This service is intended to significantly improve the efficiency of processing investor applications, thereby enhancing overall service delivery. The initiative is strategically aligned with the government's 24-hour economy vision, which seeks to cultivate a vibrant business landscape, attract increased investment, and promote long-term economic expansion. This new service is coupled with the ongoing revision of the GIPC Act, which aims to eliminate existing obstacles to investment in Ghana and facilitate new avenues for local businesses. GIPC's 24-hour premium service isn't just about attracting foreign investment, emphasized CEO Simon Maggi. It also aims to connect Ghanaian businesses with untapped opportunities. Dr. Ishmael Amano-Dodo connected the initiative directly to the government's 24-hour economy policy, expressing confidence that the policy would exceed its 1.7 million job creation target. He identified key sectors: agriculture, pharmaceuticals, manufacturing, and textiles as primed for job creation, stressing the need for digital skills within these sectors. The service's goals include streamlined investor application processing, improved service delivery, and enhanced GIPC revenue generation, all aligning with international best practices in investment promotion and supporting the creation of sustainable jobs for Ghanaians.
So in our quest to serve investors, there's the need to look at our own work processes. One of the things we realize is that we can indeed, have a premium service, which is GIPC registration, support letters for quotas or renewal of GIPC registrations. And we've seen that can be done within 24 hours. So this is what we've launched today, which is a 24-hour premium service to all of our investors. As you know, Ghana, like every other country, is competing for investment around the world, and so the more you improve your processes to receive investors, the better it is for all of us. And it is also within the broader context of the country's drive towards transitioning us into a 24-hour economy. So if we should be able to process these things within a 24-hour period, and that's what we've done so far. The piloting has been on for close to a month now. It won't be that long. It will take a few months just so we can perfect the system and address many of the concerns that will come up. And know what they say, teething problems resolved. Then we'll go out in full force, but we are in the piloting stage.
On the issues of Galamsey, a policeman drowned in the Offin River in the central region of Ghana during an anti-illegal mining operation at Asin Asaman. Reports have it that the policeman, who has been identified as Constable John Kwabena Dogbe, drowned Wednesday morning. Constable Dogbe's body was recovered from the Offin River after a 4-hour search. The incident occurred during a raid conducted by the Central North Regional Police Command as part of their ongoing efforts to combat illegal mining activities, Galamsey, in their region. Illegal mining, known as Galamsey, continues to devastate the environment, destroying vast areas of land and polluting water sources in the central region and other parts of Ghana. The Central North Regional Police Command launched the operation to curb the increasing prevalence of illegal mining, particularly along the Ofin River. Sources reported that the suspected illegal miners fled upon seeing the police, attempting to escape to the opposite bank of the Ofin River at Asin Asaman. The source indicated that Constable Dogbe slipped and drowned while attempting to remove and destroy equipment used in the illegal mining operation, including a chamfan, a type of floating platform, and water pumping machines.
Exactly. I think Daryl has made the point eloquently. He's made the point. It's not about survival. It's about greed. And let's be clear, those financing the existential threat, they are not hungry people. Maybe those in the pit. But let's be clear, we're being poisoned. I don't think we appreciate the seriousness of the situation. We are being poisoned. As we sit right now, the food you are eating, do you know where it's coming from? The water you are drinking, do you know where it's coming from? Ghana Water has said that they do not remove the heavy metals from the water. So as we sit here sort of playing around the issues, it's very, very frustrating. The house is burning. What we need to do immediately is to put out the fire. Then we can look at these other things. But when we talk about survival, are miners the only people who need to survive? As was rightly said, criminal activity is criminal activity. Let's separate the two. You have, for example, the Peasant Farmers Association. About 2 million of them are at risk of losing their livelihood, and fishermen as well, as a consequence of illegal mining. We have cocoa, which we are depending on. Cocoa plantations are being destroyed. We have the rubber plantations, which are also being destroyed by the environmental terrorists. And we act as if the only people on this world who need an income are miners.
Moving away from that story, the Deputy Director of A. Rocha, Daryl Bosu, has said that although some progress has been made to address the issue of illegal small-scale miners, a lot more work needs to be done. The No to Galamsey campaign is a widespread movement in Ghana aimed at eradicating illegal mining, particularly galamsey, which has devastating effects on the environment and local communities. Galamsey, a local term for illegal mining, has been a persistent issue in Ghana, with thousands of miners extracting gold and other minerals without proper licenses and regulations. This has led to widespread deforestation, water pollution, and soil degradation, affecting the livelihood of many Ghanaians. Daryl, who spoke to the media in an interview about the No to Galamsey campaign, talked about how it's bad that they are doing all this in the name of survival. He went ahead to say that survival should not be an excuse for crime.
But I also need to say, there is a thin line between fighting and management. And for a long time, governments and many people have been trying to, look at both strategies. But I must say that anytime we put up the argument of livelihood as a driver of the menace we face, then I guess we are shooting ourselves in the foot. We need to clearly distinguish between what is criminality and what is also the right thing to do. And so far, we all can say that for as long as we know that people are mining where they shouldn't be mining, whether it's difficult to get a license or not, whether there's gold in this country and we must utilize it, the fact that people are not using the right way to assess that gold, then we need to deal with the criminality aspect of it. And I think that the main problem, the whole problem of Galamsey, as has been indicated that it has evolved, got to this situation because we use the narrative of livelihood to get people in the bush, in the pits, and all of that. And I think we can't sustain any effort to manage or find solutions to the problem by continuously bringing up the kind of livelihood or the fact that people must survive. This has nothing to do with survival. All of us know that we've gone beyond the point where we say people are doing Galamsey because of survival. It's much more of people living large. And I've seen countless occasions where all the people, the kingpins in Galamsey, who are in the field doing all of these things, they are rather using it to live large, get cars. The person who's really in the...
Now on international news, the European Union is gearing up for countermeasures following US President Donald Trump's announcement of 20% tariff on EU imports, a decision the EU decries as a major blow to the world economy. Ursula von der Leyen, the head of the EU's executive branch, expressed deep regret over the move, emphasizing its immediate and far-reaching consequences: a suffering global economy, spiraling uncertainty, and increased protectionism. She highlighted the detrimental effects on all businesses, both large and small, citing disruptions to supply chains, increased bureaucracy, and a drastic rise in the cost of doing business with the United States. The European Union is a major trading partner of the US, being the biggest single market for American exports last year, higher than Canada and Mexico. Despite the mutually beneficial trade relationship between the US and Europe, which has fostered millions of jobs and economic prosperity for both sides, the European Union is preparing for a potential trade war in response to Trump's tariffs, while favoring collaboration to reduce trade barriers. European Union head Ursula von der Leyen stated that Europe is ready to retaliate, building upon existing countermeasures to steel and aluminium tariffs, with further measures of negotiations fail. The escalation threatens a trade relationship that has thrived for 80 years, even as von der Leyen concedes that the global trading system needs improvement. Despite agreeing with President Trump that some nations exploit current trade rules, EU head Ursula von der Leyen believes tariffs are not the solution and affirmed Europe's readiness to negotiate. However, she stressed that Europe must defend its interests, promising solidarity and support to all member states affected by the trade dispute.
President Trump's announcement of universal tariffs on the whole world, including the European Union, is a major blow to the world economy. I deeply regret this choice. Let's be clear-eyed about the immense consequences. The global economy will massively suffer. We have always been ready to negotiate with the United States to remove the remaining barriers to transatlantic trade. At the same time, we are prepared to respond. We are already finalizing the first package of countermeasures in response to tariffs on steel, and we're now preparing for further countermeasures to protect our interests and our businesses if negotiations fail. I know that many of you feel let down by our oldest ally. Yes, we must brace for the impact that this will inevitably have. Europe has everything it needs to make it through the storm. We are in this together. If you take on one of us, you take on all of us. Europe stands together for our business, for our citizens, and for all Europeans, and we will continue to build bridges with all those that, like us, care about fair and rules-based trade as a basis.
In the world of business, the Ghana cedi's performance stabilized in April 2025, following a month of mixed results in March. As of April 2nd, 2025, the exchange rate between the Ghana cedi and the US dollar was 15 cedis.95 Ghana cedis, reflecting limited gains for the cedi over the past week. Despite a 1.74% year-to-date depreciation in the retail market, the cedi's overall performance is weaker, having lost over 5% of its value against the dollar in the interbank market. Reflecting a shift in market dynamics, the cedi's mid-rate settled at 15.80 Ghana cedis to the US dollar at the close of last week's trading, driven by a notable easing of demand for foreign exchange. Consequently, the cedi appreciated against major currencies, gaining 0.63% against the US dollar, 0.99% against the pound, and 0.88% against the euro week on week. As of February 2025, Ghana's foreign exchange reserves, excluding incumbent assets, stood at 6.86 billion US dollars, reflecting a significant 7.17 increase from 6.40 billion US dollars in December 2024, achieved within the first 2 months of the year. Despite a 48% increase in the refined oil import bill, Ghana's foreign exchange reserves now provide 3 months of import cover, an increase from 2.9 months at the close of 2024. Analysts suggest that the Bank of Ghana's intervention in the foreign exchange market, which have been instrumental in stabilizing the cedi, were made possible by the improved reserve position. Looking forward, they predict that the cedi will remain relatively stable in the near term, supported by ongoing interventions fueled by these strengthened reserves. Now let's do some sports news. Ghana has improved its position in the latest FIFA rankings, marking its first upward movement since July 2024, when it climbed from 64th to 60th position. The Black Stars have moved up to the 76th in the global rankings, after holding the 77th position since November 2024. This improvement follows Ghana's successful start to the 2025 calendar during the recent international break. This improvement follows Ghana's successful start to the 2025 during the recent international break. Ghana secured victories over Chad and Madagascar in the 2026 FIFA World Cup qualifiers, marking their first wins since defeating the Central African Republic the previous June. Ghana's recent victories have enabled them to surpass Israel in the latest FIFA rankings, as Israel experienced a decline, dropping 2 places. This shift in rankings underscores Ghana's improved performance and reflects the dynamic nature of the global football landscape, where success on the field directly translates to positive movement in the FIFA standings. The Black Stars' ascent serves as motivation to maintain their winning form and continue their climb towards a higher position in the rankings. Although Ghana has experienced a positive shift in their global FIFA ranking, indicating progress on an international level, their continental ranking remains unchanged at 14th, underscoring the competitive nature of African football and highlighting the importance of future success, as Otto Addo aims to leverage upcoming matches later in the year to elevate the team's performance, improve their overall ranking, and establish the Black Stars as a force to be reckoned with both globally and within the African continent. Therefore, future matches are crucial for the team to solidify their position and achieve more significant progress. In the world of entertainment, Ghanaian actress Martha Nkoma exposed the pervasive colorism within Ghana's film industry, detailing how dark-skinned actors are routinely discriminated against and pressured to bleach their skin for better roles. Sharing her experience at the PCH Hangouts 2025 at ICJC New Wine Temple, East Legon, Nkoma recounted a producer's critique of her skin tone. "Martha, you are too black. The light we use in acting, when we put the light on you, you won't shine." Nkoma described how colorism pressures actors to lighten their skin. "Because of that pressure, most of my colleagues started bleaching, and that's how some of them are fair. If you've been watching Ghanaian movies for a while, you will know that some of them were not fair before, but now they are because they had to maintain it." In stark contrast to the trend, Nkoma resisted the pressure to bleach, crediting her strength to her faith, wisdom, and strong family values. "I thank God for wisdom because the Bible says the fear of God is the beginning of wisdom. I thank God for my parents. My dad was an Adventist. May he rest in peace. And my mom is a strict Pentecostal." Looking back at her career, Nkoma acknowledged the difficulties she faced navigating the industry before the advent of social media. "It hasn't been easy. It has just been the grace of God. When we started, there was nothing like Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok or Twitter. It was just you being put on a poster, she recalled. She also addressed rumors about actors engaging in unethical activities to advance their careers, emphasizing that such pressures exist across various professions. I'm sure wherever you are working to, people do all sorts of things just to be there. So it's everywhere, trust me, but it takes the grace of God for you to say no to a lot of things.
You are listening to Big Family Radio. Big Family Radio.
To end the news, the recap of the headlines. President Mahama has ordered for the desilting of Odol Drain to prevent flooding. The road minister says contractor is set to resume work on Stout of Anko in Sawim Road following fruitful discussions. Former Eastern Regional Minister has said that the abolition of the e-levy is a good news. Ghana Investment Promotion Center has unveiled new 24-hour premium service for investors. European Union has responded to Trump's tariffs. News at 6 was brought to you by Big Family Multimedia Institute, BFM Store, Trustees Network Group, Center for Trade. You can also watch us and follow us live on Facebook at BFM Network and ABK TV Ghana. To acknowledge my producers, Akosia Depa, Wiseken, Ejata, thank you. And also, Kofi Ajaman Blackman, you are watching from Pig Farm. Thank you so much for watching News at 6 from the studios of Big Family Radio. Thank you for joining News at 6. Have a good evening. My name is Esther Akosia Agbobli.